On a spring morning in 1945, a mid-sized German city in Hesse stood where factories had once hummed with work. Before the war, the town had about 200,000 people. It was home to a famous plant that built heavy tanks, the Henschel factory. Henschel produced some of the most feared German tanks. One of those was the Tiger II, also called the King Tiger. It weighed nearly 70 tons and carried a long, powerful 88mm gun. The Tiger II used very thick armor and sloped plates. From the front, it was extremely hard to damage with Allied anti-tank guns. But the design had problems. The tank was heavy, awkward, and often broke down. Only a small number of Tiger IIs were finished. Henschel and a few other firms managed to build under 500 before the war ended. In the right hands, though, a King Tiger could stop large attacks. By late March of 1945, American forces were pushing into Western Germany. After winning in the Ardennes, the U.S. Third Army moved east and southeast, getting close to the city and the Henschel works. On March 22nd, elements of Patton's Third Army crossed the Rhine at Oppenheim. Patton's push kept German reinforcements tied up and helped the First Army move toward Paderborn. The Third Army's 12th Corps advanced with little opposition and reached the outskirts of Frankfurt by March 26th. Further south, the 20th Corps moved on the city that held the tank plant. On March 30th, the 81st Infantry Division of the 20th Corps began moving against the bombed factory area. At the Henschel plant, workers rushed to complete the final Tiger IIs being built. At the assembly line in Mittelfeld, a group of trained tank crews waited. Men from the 3rd Company, Heavy Tank Battalion 511, stood ready to man the new Tigers and take them straight to battle. Defending the city was General Major Johannes L. He had roughly 6,000 troops. His main force included a replacement grenadier regiment and some anti-tank guns, plus local defenders and home guards. On March 30th, the last 8 Tiger IIs rolled out and left the factory with new crews. Their orders were to move south and strengthen defenses, especially around Fritzlar, a town used as part of the city's outer defense ring. The Tigers reached Fritzlar and ran into the American spearhead only about 3 kilometers from town. In a short, violent clash, the heavy tanks knocked out several U.S. vehicles and delayed the advance. American artillery then hit back hard. The German Tigers were forced to pull back to avoid taking heavy losses from the barrage. The fight had shown the King Tigers' firepower and their vulnerability to massed artillery. On April 1st, advance elements of the U.S. 81st Division approached the city from the south. They ran into strong German positions again. This time, the main threat was not the Tigers, but 88mm flak guns manned by the RAD Labor Service. The 88mm flak pieces were used in an anti-tank role across an open training ground. These heavy guns could stop armor, and they temporarily held up the American attack. On April 2nd, the U.S. artillery hit the flak battery hard and broke its defense. The 318th Infantry Regiment pushed a battalion onto wooded high ground west of the city, while the 319 crossed the Fulda River to the north. General L ordered a counterattack against the American battalion in the woods. For the assault, he used a battalion of replacement grenadiers riding in armored half-tracks with about a dozen tanks, including some King Tigers. The Germans surprised the Americans at first. In the battle that followed, 1 Tiger was damaged, but several U.S. tank destroyers were knocked out. For a short time, the counterattack slowed the U.S. advance. But the German attack soon broke down. Their tanks and infantry lost contact, and American artillery pounded the separated tanks, destroying 2 more with concentrated howitzer fire. The Americans then used M16 half-tracks with quad .50 machine guns, nicknamed meat choppers, to shred the barracks and break German resistance. Many defenders surrendered under the heavy fire. The 3rd Company of the Heavy Panzer Battalion refused to give up, though. The remaining King Tigers were ordered to withdraw across a highway to cover the retreat of German forces. One last Tiger was posted at the East Autobahn exit to cover the pullback. Sergeant Heinz Wilms took position there with good fields of fire to the south and west, while some infantry dug in on a railway embankment above the road. As American infantry approached, a local civilian led U.S. troops to a spot behind the stationary Tiger. Tank destroyers and infantry attacked from the rear and struck repeatedly, eventually knocking the Tiger out. Fierce house-to-house fighting followed in parts of the town. The outnumbered German garrison was slowly pushed back toward the city center as American forces tightened the ring. By 9 o'clock on April 4th, U.S. troops surrounded the German command bunker. Realizing his situation was hopeless, General L surrendered around noon. More than 5,000 German soldiers were taken prisoner. The battered Tigers of the 3rd Company were finished. By April 19th, the company was disbanded. Its tanks had been destroyed, abandoned, or rendered useless by lack of fuel and mechanical failures. The fighting around the Henschel plant and the city showed both the strength and limits of late-war German armor. The Tiger, too, could dominate a local fight, but it could not change the outcome when supply, fuel, and numbers were gone. For the Americans, capturing the factory area stopped another source of dangerous heavy tanks. It was a step toward pushing deeper into Germany and ending the war in Europe. Today, the story of those last King Tigers is a reminder of how quickly the balance of war can shift, from machines and weapons to logistics, numbers, and simple determination on the ground. Thank you for watching. If you like this account, consider subscribing and sharing.